it's Terry Gaines. I'm going to give you some assembly tips and creating a fun fold buckle card. I'm going to use a background stamp called Stack Stone and a stamp set called Beautiful Autumn. The cardstock color I'm going to use for my card base is Cajun Craze, and the card base is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, scored at 5 1/2. When you fold on that score line, and I've already scored my cardstock using the Simply Scoring tool, you can use a paper trimmer with a scoring blade. But when you fold on that score line, that fold is going to be on the left side, and I'm going to stamp the background stamp just on the front panel. So I'm going to bring the background stamp back into the camera view, and when I use my background stamps, I like to leave them right on the table, bring the rubber side up, and take my ink. I'm going to use Cajun Craze, so the same color as my card base is my ink color, and I'm going to tap the ink onto the stamp. You get your best coverage for stamping when you just tap the ink onto your stamp. I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper and place it underneath this front panel so I only get the stamped image on the front panel. Turn it upside down, place it on the background stamp, and then I'm going to take another piece of paper and cover up that exposed ink, and then take the flat part of my fingers and cover go across the cardstock to apply pressure. I find I get a better coverage if I use the flat part of my fingers and instead of my fingertips. And now I have just that stamped image on the left side panel. Then I'm going to take a piece of very vanilla cardstock that is 2 inches by 7 1/4, and I've already scored this at 3 5/8, and that fold line is going to be on the right side. I am going to stamp an image on the front panel. I'm going to use one of the sentiments in the Beautiful Autumn stamp set, and I've also put one of the leaf images next to it. I'm going to tap my ink using the same color, Cajun Craze, and I am using photopolymers, so sometimes I like to use this stamping mat, which is not in the catalog but is still available, and stamp on that. So now I have my stamped image, and I should also tell you that I stamped closer to the fold and left a little bit more white space on this side of the card. I'm going to close up the ink pad. All the stamping is done. And now what I'm going to do is the assembly. So for the assembly, I am going to adhere this, I use Very Vanilla, and adhere this to a coordinating cardstock color, and I'm using Cajun Craze. And this is cut at 2 1/4 by 3 7/8. I'm going to use the new Stamp and Seal. I'm having great success with it with a very light pressure and a very soft check mark at the end. And there we have equal spacing on all sides of that, and the fold is on the right. I'm going to set that aside. Now I'm going to bring in the classic label punch, and this is a very versatile punch, and what I'm going to do is bring the left panel into the punch on the right side of it. Hopefully that, I like to turn it this way because I want this cardstock all the way down to the bottom, looking for equal spacing on both sides, and make one punch out of that. Now what I'm going to do is take this piece and adhere it to the center of this card base and apply my Stamp and Seal on the back. Equal spacing top and bottom, and equal spacing right and left, and adhere that right to the center. Now when I open up this card, close this, or open up this panel, close this panel, this should fit right into place as long as everything was centered. But don't worry, if it doesn't fit or it's too snug on one side, you just open this up, and if you want to expand the top a little bit, you just take another little sliver out of that, and then you have, this will fit in just perfect. So that is the Fun Fold Buckle card. Now we need to embellish the card. I have chosen to take a 1 1/2 inch circle to embellish, and I'm going to cut this using the 1 1/2 inch circle punch, and I'm going to decorate this with dies, cut out images using the Gathered Leaves dies. I absolutely love these dies, and I did this ahead of time. I cut them all out. These dies will cut and emboss all at the same time. So I've cut out of Old Olive, and this is the largest one, and I'm just going to take my fingers and just curl up those leaves a little bit. I have crushed curry, for the middle one, and then the Cajun Craze for the smaller one here. And now what I'm going to do is just take this and take some mini glue dots, and I have the largest one is the Old Olive. I'm going to apply some mini glue dots in the back, and at least a couple, and place those down. And then the top one I have crushed curry, not crushed curry, this middle one's crushed curry, and this one is the Cajun Craze. I just stack those leaves, and this is going to be embellishing this portion of the card. We do need to be careful. There's a couple tips you need to know. One is you don't want to put any adhesive on this portion of the card, otherwise you've sealed it shut. And the other tip is to use dimensionals. So what I'm going to do is apply dimensionals. I'm going to put one on the left side of this cut and one towards the bottom. One of the things I should have shared with you is you can place this down to visually see where you want to place the image, and then place your dimensionals. Before you take the backing off, do just verify that if you place it right like so, it's not going to cover up, or this image is going to cover up the dimensionals. Take your pick tool to remove the backings and apply your image. And now you have a fun fold buckle card. And I failed to bring some linen thread over, but I have another sample here showing adding some linen thread to the card. This one I used birch background, and I just switched up some colors, used the soft suede. Here's another one using early espresso. There are so many fun ways to utilize this fun fold card. Here's one using the dry brush background in the Pines bundle. And one of my favorites is the buffalo check with the moose, and the It's Your Day is from a sentiment stamp in the annual catalog. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you found me via YouTube, there will be a direct link underneath in the comments section to my blog post where you'll find the supply list, measurements, and instructions for this project. There'll be a PDF tutorial you can download. I would love to have you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the red box under the video. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoy creating this project with me. Stay safe and stay healthy.